Hi everybody, welcome to Buchardt Audio, and this is our new place. Not finished yet, but we're getting there. So I would like to welcome you inside to take a look around, and yeah, this is Buchardt Audio. I'm Mads Buchardt. Let's go to see what we have to do here. So. The hallway where we come in, then we have a bit of a showroom in here. I don't know if you can see it for the light, but some of our different speaker models throughout the years, what we have developed. And if we a little bit of a wall where we have some speakers that are cut out. We have the anniversary 10 here. Then we have the new E50, which is a solid wood speaker that I can show you how it's made out here in a little bit. And then one of the A500s, which is an older model, and also the first generation S400 speaker up here. And if we go out to the warehouse, this is where Rasmus is building the speakers. So he is having hands-on on each pair that are going out from our production here. And what we do in this location is only our solid wood speakers that we are building here. So the warehouse is actually pretty empty right now because we have a lot of new stock coming in from all the speakers that we are making or producing in the East, where we have our partners in Indonesia and also China, depending on what models that are being built. And before we walk into the production, we have, of course, the training facilities for the staff members, just to keep healthy. But let's go in and see, and it can be a little bit noisy in here, but I'll try to raise my voice. So this is where all the magic happens, where we are producing the cabinets for all our solid wood speakers. So let's go check it out. Down this line you can see all the E50 speakers that are currently being finished. And all of them are made, these are made in oak, and then we also have some that are in mahogany. And it's because, of course, before the treating process, they are getting oiled and also getting a protective layer of lacquer as a finishing process. And we have our CNC machine that are milling out the front plates, which looks like this. And this is one piece, it's a 30 millimeter thick solid wood piece that we are then seeing a lot of material away from the inside to have as much cabinet volume as possible while still remaining a rigid cabinet that are really strong. One of our key points when we are producing speakers is we want to build something that's relatively compact but still extremely powerful. So having a lot of cabinet volume internally is important to us, and that's the main reason why you see these cutouts inside of the speakers. It helps to strengthen the wood, so it also bends and flexes a little bit better when it contracts from the different humidities that we'll get exposed to. But it of course also gives us more internal volume, and it has a little bit of a scattering effect as the internal, but it's not an acoustic reason why we're doing it, but everything helps for that as well. And here we have Mikkel, that are our chief here in the production, and Seth as well, he's his partner, and they're currently sanding down some of the cabinets. And we also do our solid wood stands in this production as well. And some of these machines here are where we're pressurizing the cabinets. You can see two of the cabinets there. So when we're gluing them together, we have to make sure that all of our solid wood cabinets, they can withstand harsh environments from when we're shipping up to Canada and Alaska and the north and Norway, where it can get extremely dry in the winters. And a very dry climate is something that's hard on solid wood. So we need to make sure that they can withstand those kinds of environments. And here we can see some of the smoked oak cabinets. It's a treating process that we're doing to the wood after after they have been sanded down. So the last process they need is to be finished in the lacquer cabin, which is in here, or spraying cabin. And then let's go out again. And then we're back to the warehouse. But in terms of how it all started, back in 2013, or actually if we rewind to earlier than that, the first company that has to do with hi-fi was one that I started back in 2008. And that company, I sold primarily kits for kit speakers and components for DIY people in the hi-fi space. And since then, back in 2013, I wanted to build finished speakers. So me and a colleague, we chose to start the brand Buchardt Audio. After the company started, some of the first speakers we did was passive speakers, but we were a pretty early adopter into the active speakers as well, and we have built upon those for many years now. And one of the latest models that we have produced is this, which is the A200, and it's, as you can see, a very compact little speaker, but it's a very powerful and very versatile speaker. It can be configured as a cardioid dispersion speaker, where we are actually using the backfiring woofer, which is also an active driver, so it's not a passive radiator. Internally, you have two different compartments you can actually see here from the inside of the speaker. So it's two sealed compartments for each of the woofers. And what that allows us to do with DSP is to turn this into a cardioid dispersion. So in easy terms, it works like noise cancelling at certain frequencies. So we have a lot of, in a traditional speaker, you have a lot of the lower mid-range is actually wrapping also around the speaker, because bass is omnidirectional. And it's omnidirectional up to around 300 Hertz, which is into the lower mid-range frequencies. So what this can do at some of these low frequencies, it can actually cancel out what frequencies that goes at the back of the speaker, making it very capable of standing very close to a wall while still sounding like it's standing like 1 meter from the back wall. So it's a very, very good feature for people that are working with space constraints or need to have speakers very close to a wall, but still want to have as good as a sound quality as possible out of the speakers. So it's a very neat little speaker that can both play extremely deep bass, and it can play fairly loud, can be used as a subset system. It can be used just as a standalone speaker, and it can also be used as rear channels in a surround sound setup. It's WiSA capable, so it can be wireless, but it can also be used as an analog input if you have a preamp that you just want to use with it. So many different use cases, and it comes like this in a solid wood that we are making here, but we also have them produced in standard white and black painted finishes, which is considerably cheaper because those are produced at our partner in Indonesia instead. And if we go over to the E50, which is currently our most popular speaker, and it was also the first passive speaker that we did in solid wood. And in comparison to the A200, you can see here, like I showed in the production, the waveguide is CNC'd directly into the wood instead of being a separate aluminum part, which it is in the A200. And in this speaker, we wanted to build something that is as Danish as we possibly could. So we have partnered up with Scanspeak to produce a custom tweeter that is made out of the 97,000 series, but it's heavily modified. So it's very different from that old classic Scanspeak tweeter. And it's mounted from the backside, of course, in it. And then what also goes into the speaker is the binding posts, which are produced around 10 kilometers from here by a company called Agento Audio, which are making extremely high-end binding post for many different speakers out there, or they also do cables and stuff. But it's a very simple construction where you just have a silver tube, which is the only connection point that you have for the wire. There are no magnetic parts in the signal path with these binding posts. It's simply a brass screw with some plastic heads that are just putting the cable in, and you can use a normal cable, you can use banana and spades as well. So it's a very good binding post. And then we use the now pretty legendary Purify woofer. And I think many that are following this channel might know what this is already, but just to fresh up, it's a 6.5-inch mid woofer that are capable of producing extremely deep bass, but it can move a lot of air because it has very long stroke distance compared to your normal woofer, and it can do that with very low distortion. So it's a very capable driver when you want to, in a two-way system like this, to produce both bass and mid-range from the same woofer. So that makes this a very, very good candidate, especially for people that necessarily don't want to have a subwoofer paired with the system as well. So it's very powerful for the size of the speaker. The only drawback that it really has, the Purify, well, it has two. It's very expensive. That's one of the first things. But when you have a driver that can produce very deep bass, such a small driver, and have a very long stroke distance, it will also have very low sensitivity. So it's a speaker that does need at least, I would say, 100 watts into 4 ohms to work very well. But we also have people that are using it with lower power tube amps and are completely happy with it. So it depends on how loud you want to play, of course. Then on the back side, you will see we are using these passive radiators, which is actually the only part that are used in the speakers that are not coming from the EU. Most of the parts are actually produced here in Denmark, but this one is produced by our partner in Indonesia as well, SB Acoustics, for those that know it. It's a specially made passive radiator for us because the standard drivers couldn't move enough to handle the Purify woofer, so we had to produce some that has longer stroke distance. So this is more as kind of a subwoofer driver in its construction. Then to the heart of the speaker, which is the crossover, and for people that knows crossover, they can see that this is pretty high quality for a speaker of this price point. And we are using Janssen Audio, which is a company that I have been working with since 2008, where back in the first company that where we sold the components like this. So Michael Jensen, which is one that I've it's a good friend of mine now. We together found many of these different parts that we wanted to use in the crossover of the E50, where we're using foil inductors, which is almost never seen in a speaker in this price range, and they are superior caps for the tweeter network and also cross caps where it's not as sensitive to the quality of the cap, although it's still a very good capacitor. And then there's super res resistors and all air coil inductors. And for wiring, when we're going to the tweeter, we are using the Danish built Duelund cable, which is a legendary cable that many also would know, and then using some silver wiring for the Purify woofer and for the binding post as well. And for dampening materials, we are using 3 different types. We're using Vasotec, which is a German invention that is kind of a sponge that works extremely well as an acoustical dampening. And that's the only thing that we're actually using in the Anniversary 10 speakers, which is the solid wood active speakers that we are building. Then we use real sheep's wool and also some polyester, which is going up as a kind of a roll thing behind the tweeter. But that's many of the parts. Then of course we also have all the screws that goes into assembling it. But yeah, that's mainly the E50. So a brand new thing that I would like to show you is actually a new product that we have coming, which is kind of a variation of the E50 that you can see next to it here. It looks almost identical. It's a little bit wider because now it uses a 7.5-inch woofer instead of the 6.5-inch Purify. So the main differences and why we have chosen to launch this, which is called E50S, and S stands for sensitivity. It is that, yeah, the E50 is not the most sensitive speaker in the world. It needs some power to get going. And we know there are a lot of people out there that might have tube amps or Class A amplification, or maybe just not need to have a speaker that plays extremely deep bass. Maybe you want to pair it with a subwoofer and want something that is even clearer in the mid-range than the E50 is. So that's the reason why we have made the E50S. And yeah, so of course, brand new crossover. It's way different than what it is in here, but the components qualities are the same. So the big difference is, of course, the woofer, and this is what provides the speaker with a lot more sensitivity. It's a Textreme-based cone, and you can see it's an SP Acoustics Satori woofer, which is, and on the back you can see the very easy recognizable frame or a cone of the Textreme material, which is a very hard and very light material. It's kind of a resemblance of a type of carbon, but yeah, it has become very popular in the hi-fi space, and you have probably seen a lot of speakers that are being produced with cones like this. But it's a very, very good sounding driver that has exceptionally clear mid-range. So it's very different from what you get from a paper cone-based woofer like the Purify in the E50. And of course, yeah, that sensitivity boost is something that you really hear. But it can't play as deep bass as the E50. So it's for two different types of customers out there. But yeah, that's the big differences between the two. And price-wise, the E50S will likely be, the price is not completely set yet, so I don't know, but it will likely be a little bit more expensive than the E50 due to the more complex crossover that it has. And also this driver is actually a little bit more expensive than the Purify. But will be very close to the same price as you know from the E50. So it's a very simple and very effective production we have. We only have 6 full-time employees. For all the development and measurement equipment, all the things that we use when we are developing a new product, that is not in this facility. Those things are outsourced at different locations depending on what we actually need. So some engineers are very good at developing waveguides, some are very good at developing passive crossovers, and some are very good at developing DSP networks for and all these different things that goes into the active speakers. So yeah, we are lucky to be in Denmark, which is basically a mecca for audio, and many knows that we have so many engineers that are super talented here. So that's why we don't have one single or maybe 2 engineers in-house. We are choosing between a big wave of different engineers depending on the task that we need. So that's one of the reasons why we can keep everything so effective here at Buchardt Audio, because compared to how few people we are, we do ship out a lot of speakers and have done so for many years. So that's something that we will continue to do. This is our office space where I'm spending the most of my time. This is my place where I'm sitting. This is where we have Johan, which is currently out of the office right now. Same as Daniel that is over there. If people have spoken with us, they will either be speaking with me or Daniel. And then we have Rasmus that is sitting here. He's the chief of the warehouse, and he has everything out there under full control. And we have a little cozy room here where we can sit and listen and test some of the products. This is not our dedicated listening room, but yeah, it's easy to go listen to our speakers here. I will just talk a little bit about some of the waveguides that we have done, because people that are watching this might notice that why do all of our speakers have waveguides? And it's something that we started with a long time ago, which the first speaker that we did with waveguides was the S400 Mark I. Now we're actually into the Mark III edition. So Yeah, it's been a while since we did that, but the idea behind using a waveguide is to utilize some of the strength of the treater, and also to because it will give the treater more acoustical output, where it starts to actually roll off and hand over to the mid woofer, and it helps us to lower the crossover point. And one of the things that we really wanted to do was to actually use a very small treater in some of our earlier designs. So we can have a standard crossover point, but having a very small treater that doesn't lose power off axis, because it stays with a very wide dispersion character, even at very high frequencies, where normally a speaker will beam quite a lot. So at very high frequencies, it's almost laser beam. So you need to sit completely right in the sweet spot before to get all the frequencies produced by the speaker. With our speakers, it has constant directivity due to the waveguide. So even if you are listening to the speakers out at a 50 degrees angle, you still has the same output in the treater at the high frequencies as you do on axis for the treater. So that gives you a speaker that works better with the room and with all the reflections that comes from it. It gives you a wider sweet spot. You can walk around, stand up, whatever you want to do, and the sound won't change from the treater. The sound of the speakers is very coherent within the room. And what we can see here is actually 3 of our different types of waveguide designs. The first one, this is the A500 with the small treater, which is a very deep waveguide. That's naturally what will happen when you have a small treater, and it has been something that we still use today. It works very, very good. It measures absolutely perfectly, and it was also the S400 Mark I was the first commercially available hi-fi speaker that was produced using the Klippel near-field scanner, which back at that time was brand new technology available to the hi-fi space, and many that knows a little bit about measuring knows that machine, which is something that many are now adopting around the world for developing speakers. We still have access to this machine today and use it for all of our designs and developments. But it allowed us back then to produce a waveguide that was very precise, that we know exactly how it operated in all different angles, because that machine, it could take 5,000 measurements around the speaker, so we know exactly what it does at every possible angle. And that helped us produce the perfect waveguide, basically. One other key aspect of the waveguide is that when you have the crossover between the woofer and the treater, you want the contour, the way that they spread the sound to actually blend together, so that they play as one driver, basically. Instead of having a treater that pushes out the sound in one way and have a woofer that does it in a different way, you will have a mismatch in the activity when they meet each other. In this way, it will match perfectly. And for the E50, of course, we use a different treater here. We use a larger, the Scanspeak treater. So we need to do a new waveguide that matches both the purifier woofer and, well, this is not the purifier woofer, for those that have seen. But yeah, back to the waveguide. So of course, when we have a different woofer, we need to make a different waveguide so that it matches the woofer as well, and also the treater, of course. And to our newest waveguide construction, it is used in the brand new speaker, the S400 Mark III, which will also later come and be used in a floor standing version. But yeah, it's now paired with a 7.5-inch woofer. So it of course needs to be bigger and also different, and it also have a brand new tweeter that we have worked on for also a long time. So that's a little bit about the waveguides. And lastly, I would like to talk a bit about how we are doing sales, because many out there might not know who we are, and that's because we are not to be found in your typical hi-fi shop. Since I started the company, I wanted to do direct sales in order to produce better loudspeakers at better prices, or actually just better value for our end users. And to do that, we need to cut away some things, and one of those things was distribution and stores. So we are doing direct sales worldwide. We ship out from here, always from here, directly out to no matter where you are in the world. There are a few exceptions in some countries that we can't ship to, but you can check that out on our website. But yeah, you basically buy directly on our website. The price you see on the website is including everything. It's including shipping. It's also including the import cost to your country, depending on where you're living. So it's a very simple way of doing it, and you have 45 days to try out the speakers at home. If you don't like them, then you can just contact us, and we will provide you with a return label or book a pickup at your place. So it's very easy to get the speakers home to test them to see if there's something for you. But I think that's all from me, and thank you very much for staying with me for this whole